Welcome everybody. I hope we are doing well. Today we'll be solving Leetcode 1072, flip columns for maximum number of equal rows. They want us to return the maximum number of rows that have all values equal after some number of flips. And when they say flips, we're allowed to flip the columns, converting 0 to 1 or 1 to 0. Okay, so let's take a look at this bad boy. So what I'm going to ask you to do is not necessarily look at their values, but look at each row and how each row relates to itself. Okay, so let me write that down. How does each row relate to itself? In particular, I want us to focus on how maybe we'll pick what I call an anchor element and compare the entirety of the row to the anchor element. So let's consider the first element and compare all other elements in the row to that element. So let's look at that here. So consider 0. Does 0, let's consider equals. Does 0 equal 0? Yes, it does. Does 0 equal 0 for the second element of the first row? Yes, it does. Does 0 equal 0? Yes, it does. Moving on to the second row. Does 0 equal 0? Yes, it does. Does 0 equal 0? Yes, it does. Does 0 equal 1? No, it does not. Moving on to the third row. Now we're going to compare, again, all of these elements to the first element of the row. Does 1 equal 1? Yes, it does. Does 1 equal 1? Yes, it does. Does 1 equal 0? No, it does not. Now notice something here. The last two rows are they're equal. And if we wanted to, we can flip this column to make it all zeros. We can flip this column to make it all zeros. And then we'd have the last two rows are equal. My point to you is that in essence, these last two rows are equivalent, but just the opposites of each other. So let's go back to the original problem. Let's kind of see what happens if we flip the first two columns for these for this first example. So if we flip the first column here, we get 1. On the next row, we also get 1. And on the last row, we get 0. Let's flip the second column. So this becomes a 0. This becomes a 1. This becomes a 1, and this becomes a 0. So 1, 1, 0. And for the third column, let's leave it as it is. Well, lo and behold, these last two rows are equal. And the reason is, or at least there's a relationship between that even though the rows look vastly different, they're actually not different in the respect that they're exact opposites of each other. So my goal is, or the goal is, to find the number of rows that are most equal. Like so here there are two rows that are equal, that are the same, and there's only one. Yeah, and that's basically the gist of the problem, is to find the number of rows that are most common, and the number of rows that you find, that will be answer. So let's do that here. So we'll go through each row and we'll count. We'll keep track of how many rows are the same. So let's make a counter here. Counter equals, we'll just use the counter provided by Python, and we'll have it an int. No, sorry, not sure what I'm doing here. Here we go. Default dict int, and then we'll go through each row. So for row in m, and then we'll go through each column or each element of the column. Sorry, each column of the row. So for call in, we'll just call it row. And let's do something here. So we'll want to keep a key. So we'll make the key a tuple of the values here. So imagine the tuple here in this case would be 1, 1, 0, and that would be the same thing here. This also would be 1, 1, 0, and we can add it or keep track of the counts in the counter as counts of tuples. So we'll do this here. We'll say counter, and so what we'll do here is maybe, let's see how we want to do this. We'll do column, and we'll set it, is that equal to the first element of each row, and we'll just do maybe actually let's do this here. Maybe we'll call this t equals tuple. Okay, and then we can add this to the counter. So counter of t, we'll call plus equals 1. Okay, and then, well, all we need to do is just find the max of them. So we'll do this here. So counter dot values, and we just want to know the maximum of that, and just return it, and we're done. Let's check it out. Okay, looks good. Yeah, that's fine, and then we could just submit it. And there we go. It wasn't that bad, I hope. A lot of it was just trying to, or recognizing that it's not necessarily how the rows look, it's more important how the rows relate to each other. And so again, I kind of used equals as a comparison. Other people used the XOR operator, and we can try this. This also works, and it doesn't matter that we can try submitting it here, and you'll notice that we get the same result. It's fine. So that's about it. Other than that, if you found this instructional or educational or helpful in any way, give it a like, subscribe, or comment if you have any questions. Have a great day. Take care.